Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Checking in on the MJ sector, disappointing day for the bulls. You can just feel the tangible, disheartened disgust. And we're now looking forward to Kron's earnings tomorrow. Perhaps some of us are not looking forward to it, but tomorrow that's going to dictate the trading day. It's going to happen pre-market, and we're going to either head back up towards recent resistances or head back down towards recent supports, depending on what the reaction is. So even just looking at CGC, I would anticipate that if Kron is a bearish reaction, CGC is going to be heading down towards 1889 support. If it's a bullish reaction in Kron, CGC is going to be looking up at 2168 resistance. It's a daily inside bar. We knew we didn't have hourly consolidation on Friday. That's our anti-FOMO. We can look at that move and say, wow, that's great. Even if we start strong Monday morning, we know we are extremely likely to consolidate on the hourly time frame at some point on Monday. And what really just played out was consolidation the entire day today, with no bullish upside. So for CGC, I did make it a bounce attempt. I said, okay, ready to start scaling in with 5-minute and 15-minute RSI oversold, knowing we're looking for a higher low compared to the low of Friday. And I made my initial entry just under 2050. And I said, okay, I will enter a second position down right around 20. Never entered the second position, so that puts me in a less favorable position in the sense that I do not have an average that I like. So I exited break even on this bounce right here. And that got just right up above 2050. The reason I exited, my reason for being in the trade, 5 and 15-minute RSI. After this little 15-minute bounce, the 5 and 15-minute RSI were no longer oversold. So I exited break even, kept an eye on things, but didn't see another setup that I liked for an entry. And not much else went on at the end of the day. So that's the scenario where the slight shift in execution determines a winner or a loser, but by putting myself in a low risk situation, I either get the break even, get the small loss, or open myself up to the day maker. If I had gotten my second fill, let's say we dropped down to 20.05 and I decided to play off 20 psychological support, my average would be, let's say 20.28, and I could very easily work around a solid day maker if that were to have happened. It didn't, so I accept the lesser scenario in break even. So again, don't really have to look at the hourly much because we know that Kron is going to dictate what goes on. If we see a bullish reaction and we do not break 2168, that shows the bears are still in complete control. That would be an hourly lower high. And today was pretty much just a reload for bears. It looked like, was Friday ETF rebalancing? What was going on? Because there was absolutely no follow through, and bears took full advantage of that today. Kron, so with earnings coming up, we went right back down to the low of the past couple days. We held support by 4 pennies. No real bounce off of that support. If it's a bullish reaction, we look up to 867. If it's a bearish reaction, we're looking back down to 740. ACB. Daily inside bar, but a weaker close. We know we've been trading within this range for a month at this point. If it's a bearish reaction, 350 and 340 are the supports. If it's a bullish reaction, 392 and 394 are the most important resistances. This is why I called in the recent video that this is the most important earnings reaction for me. Because things are so flat and sideways, it's either going to be a clear bull momentum shift or a clear new leg down based on these earnings alone. So just technically speaking, with how these charts are set up, I could see these earnings having more impact in the short term than recent earnings in recent memory. APHA, daily inside bar, bearish reaction, we look down to 473 and 452. With a bullish reaction, we're looking at 541. TLRY, big red day today. Looking right back down at 2130 and 2020. Resistance, 2410, 2569. We can pretty much pick out 2-3 support levels, 2 resistance levels from the last month of trading where each major name has those levels to be watching. Hexo still very weak, close at the low of the day, looking right back down at 2 psychological support. Bulls must hold that level to give themselves a chance at any kind of shift in momentum. OGI gave us the daily lower high like we were looking for compared to 401. Now we're looking right back down at 319. Daily lower high and lower low if 319 were to break. What does the volume tell us? Highest day of volume in 3 weeks. Very bearish candlestick. So it's all about 319. If that holds, we have a little equilibrium to be watching with 377 as the most important resistance. CTST had the bear break. Not a lot of follow through yet, but bulls doing nothing on the bounce. It's a potential daily bear flag, and we're looking at $1.77 with anything under 133 as a daily lower high. T-God also just trading sideways. We're looking at 91 and 92 supports and 118 resistance as we are patiently waiting short-term direction. Labs has earnings tomorrow, daily consolidation, no red flags. If it's a bullish reaction, we're looking at the double top at 549, and then we're looking up to 6. If it's a bearish reaction, the bulls will try and maintain the daily uptrend by holding 442, but at that point with the bearish reaction, we're looking at our weekly consolidation likely being underway, and then the bulls would hope for an inverse head and shoulders pattern with that double top at 549. If it's a bearish reaction, the bulls will hope for a weekly high or low and then an eventual trend change. So bulls positioned fairly comfortably. Certainly not many names in the sector that can say that. Labs is one of them. VFF just continues to show us how thinly traded it is, and honestly, this is why I don't trade it, and that's just personal preference. If you want that volatility and that risk and reward, by all means, it's there for the taking with, an 8% pullback, 12% green day, 9% pullback, just all over the place. But what stands out to me is a daily trend change with no follow through. Support is 767 and 761. Resistance is 890 and 881. And if we break these two support levels, weekly chart will have to form a higher low compared to 650. So we know this bounce is just going to be looking for a weekly lower high to form. And of course, every individual name is going to have their own earnings, which are going to dictate short-term direction. We're not going to see the sector go in the same direction as a whole. We will likely see the sector react to Cron all in the same direction tomorrow, but then each individual name, it's going to have its earnings be the most important factor. And we will see some names go bullish and we will see some names go bearish in response. TRUL now heading on to the USMJ sector, continues to punch to higher highs. We did close at the low of the day. It does look like daily consolidation is underway. Bulls want to hold 1340 to keep the daily uptrend intact. They certainly have space to work with. And at this point, off of the low of the pullback, 991 up to 1523, we've seen about a 55-60% move off that low. Again, clear standout bull in the USMJ space. And we'll see how long we can keep this daily uptrend going, keeping in mind that we lost the daily uptrend for one day, and it did not slow down the bulls a bit. Just set a weekly high or low, little bull flag, and then continuation. Curaleaf is fending off its daily bear flag, but it's not doing much else aside from that. We are still looking for a lower high compared to 740, which is still over 10% away. Anything under 740 keeps the lower high pattern intact. There is a base of support down around $6, so bulls play defense, but their offense is certainly not very impressive. CWeb, daily bear flag is possible. Again, just this bounce getting so overextended with no hourly consolidation. I would be looking for an hourly high or low compared to 1337 and an equilibrium to form, but earnings are going to make me lose interest in that play because earnings are going to dictate short-term action. IAN, if this is as much follow-through as we get from our daily high or low, that's a red flag for the bulls. We have our low, high, higher low, and if our lower high is 197, it's a very weak bounce attempt, and we're likely headed right back down towards our recent lows. Bulls must break this inside bar bullish and get over $2 to try and get to the midway point of this equilibrium and give the bulls a fighting chance to break the equilibrium bullish. I need to see IAN get up to about 205, 210 to have a fighting chance at breaking this tightening range bullish. CL is holding up pretty well. Anything above 747 is a daily high or low. We're still watching the 889 triple top. And if that breaks, that would be notable. OH Bulls stood out again today. At this point, 11 red days have been taken back in 3 green days. Usually it's the other way around, but that's a nice big bull move, still in an hourly uptrend. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out and we will look for a daily high or low compared to 363. GTII daily inside bar, again, held some support, but not really doing anything to shift momentum in favor of the bulls on the daily chart. Short-term resistance will be 1147 and 1186. For me, anything under 1186 was just a daily lower high, and we're currently topping out under that level. And if the inside bar breaks bearish, we're looking right back at our low of 991. HARV is also holding up fairly well. 386 is the double top. It is still in play. And our new must-hold support is 295. Let's see if the Harv bulls, after trading sideways for 5 weeks, can try and see a little bit of upside for a weekly lower high to be set. MedMen still tightening up. So low, high, double bottom, lower high, trying for a higher low compared to 130. Most important resistance is 163. And we got KSHB. Also, if this is our daily high or low, and that's as much follow through as we're going to get, that favors the bears. And if we drop down and break 160 support, the downtrend of lower highs and lower lows continues. If the bulls want to prove anything, they have to change the daily trend. We saw a 50% plus move, but no daily trend change. Higher low and higher high is needed, and we don't have one yet. So bottom line is, I'm going to be hands off more so than normal in this sector while we get these earnings reactions. Yes, I might trade maybe an oversold bounce in the sector tomorrow, depending on what Cron does. Maybe I'll take some short-term day trades, but you better believe I am not going to be caught holding any swing positions and gambling on hoping that we see any kind of reaction, whether it's bullish or bearish. If you're in bearish positions, it's a little bit risky in the sense that we are so exhausted down and some shorts could get squeezed if there are some surprises. If I had to make an entry or if I had to hold a position, it would be bearish just because obviously with the way things have gone and today just being the icing on the cake, that seems like a more safe bet. But I'm not going to be making a bet. I'm going to be waiting all cash and looking to trade the opportunity and the volatility that results from earnings. So we'll see what Cron gives us tomorrow morning. Keep an eye on pre-market. Keep an eye on reactions. Who's going to react the most significantly compared to Cron? Who's reacting the least? Who's going in the opposite direction? These are all little observations that we can be watching to try and establish day trade game plans for tomorrow. Other than that, we look to Thursday in CGC. I appreciate you watching. Have a good rest of your night. We'll see.